Boys and girls, so we have now really and truly walked back to 1830. We have come to the wilderness of Michigan to build a new homestead. And this morning I was Mrs. Wiki, but now I'm your mother. Now I'm Ma Wiki. You're all my, please get out of our garden. You're all my family, your brothers and sisters. And we are happy to have some aunties with us and an uncle because there's so much work to do to build a new homestead, so we need everyone's help. We did bring our animals, so we need to build a log house and a log barn. Think and then raise your hand. What do you think we should build first, our house or our barn? This gentleman. The barn. Raise your hand if you agree with him. Everybody else? Some of you? Okay, you know what? You're right. Can you give me a reason why you would build the barn first?
You can make it for the animals because they're probably gonna get colder.
Okay, well, it's not just that they might get cold, but remember that the year is 1830 and there are wild animals in this part of Michigan that would like to eat our farm animals. We have mountain lions and bears and wolves, so we need to protect our animals from those wild animals. Second, our barn would be smaller than our house, so we could build it more quickly. And third, we could sleep in there with our animals while we're working on our house. So we would build the barn first. All right, one other question for you. In 1830, could you go in your house and turn faucets to get water? No. Or not always pump it, but you boys and girls had many chores, but one of your chores was taking buckets every morning and going to the nearest water and bringing it back for washing and cooking and cleaning and drinking. And you don't want to have to walk very far with those heavy buckets. So you want Ma and Pa to build near water. You remember what's down at the bottom of our hill here? Water, right? A pond, a lake. It's not much use to us right now though, right? And they'll look frozen. So in the winter, it doesn't help us. In the winter, we can walk over the hill this way, and there's a part of the Rouge River, and because it's flowing, it usually doesn't freeze. But one of you mentioned a pump. We're lucky because last summer, you boys and Uncle and Pa worked very hard, and you dug a well for us. So now to get water, all we have to do is come out of our front door. It's still work, you'll get to see, you'll get to pump it, but at least you don't have to carry it so far. Is this a quick question? We have a lot to do. What is it?
They have dogs because then I told the dog.
I'm sorry, did they have dogs?
Yeah.
Yes, of course, they had dogs to help them. Yeah, absolutely. Cats too, to keep the mice down.
Cats?
Okay, we're going into our log house now, and in the 1830s, it was always, thank you, ladies first. So the young ladies come behind this young lady, and the gentlemen back up and go behind the young ladies, please. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to scrape your boots on our boot scraper here. I'll show you how, once on each side. Then pick up one piece of wood from the wood on the porch there. It's for our stove. You'll bring it into me at the stove. I'll take it from you. Then come back inside behind the door. There are pegs on the wall for hanging up coats. Young ladies, if you will take off your coats, and gentlemen, after you give me your wood, kindly take one of the young ladies' coats and hang it on a peg before you take yours off. And we're all sitting around the table then. If you look around our house, you may think this is very small compared to your houses. But really, this is twice the size the size of our house in 1830. It's too hard to keep it warm. In the winter, when we come in here, the water in the bucket is frozen. The only way we can keep our house warm is with our wood-burning stove over there, which is about out, but it's still hot, and our stove here. We made the house bigger so that we could have programs like yours. But having wood-burning stoves is a lot of work. Boys, you have to help Pa and Uncle chop down trees, saw it into shorter lengths, split it with an axe, stack it to dry, carry it in. Girls, we have to put a piece of wood on the fire about every 15 to 20 minutes to keep it going. And Girls, you're lucky you have brothers, because if you didn't have brothers, you'd have to take turns going out with Pa and Uncle and chopping down the trees and sawing the wood. And boys, you're lucky you have sisters, because if you didn't have sisters, some of you would take turns staying inside with Ma each day and doing the inside chores. There was so much work to be done, and everyone had to help with it. The master bedroom. This is where Ma and Pa would sleep. Oh, Auntie and Uncle, if you want to take off coats, you can put them on the bed. That's fine. I don't know. I don't know if you can see what's holding up the mattress, but any of you kids that are close, rope. It's called a rope bed. If you could feel the mattress, it's stuffed with straw or pine needles. When you walk down the path, you walk past pine trees. I know this morning when we went to the Maples, some of you were talking about all the pine needles that we were walking on. Pine needles would be soft in our mattress, and they'd smell good too. Does anyone know what this covering on top of the bed is called? A quilt. Very good. It is a quilt. And a quilt is an example of how we never waste anything. Mom might have a dress that gets torn, so she cut it down to be a dress for one of the girls. Then she'd cut it down to be a shirt for one of the boys. Pardon me, it's smoky in here. And then she cut it down to be a baby dress. And finally, the scraps of material she could use to make a new quilt for the bed if we needed one. Or can you see the two rugs on the floor? Those are called Braided Rag Rugs. And if we needed a new rug, you boys and girls could help us make a new one. The youngest baby would sleep in the wooden cradle under the stairs. And all of you brothers and sisters would sleep up in the sleeping loft. There are mattresses up there, and you'd lie down side by side. And after we finish our project, I think there will be time, if you would like to go up the stairs two at a time, not all the way up, but just far enough to look, to see what it would be like. And then when you come downstairs, come down backwards, because it's very steep. Hold on to the railing. Over here is our kitchen and our laundry room. Here's our washing machine. This is called a wash tub. We'd put soap and water in here. We'd put our dirty clothes in the warm water and then rub them on the washboard to get the dirt off of them. Then we would rinse them in clean water, wring them out, hang them behind the stove to dry because it's warm back there and they'll dry out. This is also our bathtub. On Saturday nights, we'll put it on the floor, we'll fill it with warm water, and we'll take turns taking a bath, starting with Pa and going down to the youngest baby. One reason we don't take many baths is we don't have many clothes to put on. You have your everyday set of clothes that you're wearing, and then you have one clean set of clothes, and you have one set of fancy clothes, and those are all the clothes you have. And they're hand-me-downs, yes, right, hand-me-downs from your brothers and sisters. Do you see the wooden cupboard by the wall there? That's the closet for the whole family. Ma and Pa would each have a shelf, and you brothers and sisters would share the other shelves. Aunties and Uncle, you'd fold your clothes and put them on the top and hope the bugs didn't get into them. Okay, the corn, yes, you probably do have questions, and I will try to answer them as we go, but right now, yes, the corn hanging, this is garlic. If we should have apple rings on those spokes there. Drying food was one way to preserve it. Remember, no freezers or refrigerators or grocery stores. So drying food was one way to preserve it. I'm sorry, you had a question? Oh, okay. All right. Well, sometimes I should say, we make cookies, but we're not doing that today. But before we would make cookies, we would have to wash hands. So I'm going to give you the experience of how we wash hands. We don't have an indoor bathroom, but we have a wash stand and a wash basin. And we have a pitcher, and we even have a way to get warm water. Do you remember you kids brought in buckets of water for me this morning? All right, some of that water I put into a reservoir in our stove. There's water in here. The water? And because it's been next to the wood-burning stove, this water does get hot. I'll check it to see if it's hot. Looks like it is. There's cold water in the bucket though, so if it's too hot, I'll make it not so hot. Okay, one more. I think I'm seeing steam come off, so I'm going to put a little cold water in right now. All right, let me see. Oh, it's not warm at all. I thought it would be. Oh well. I want to show you, boys and girls, too, that our stove is hot. Is everybody watching the stove?
Oh.
The project that we're going to do is make candles. Do you remember back in December after dinner how dark it was? After really dark? If you wanted to read or play games or do homework, you needed some kind of light. We do have kerosene lanterns around on the walls, but kerosene lanterns have a problem. We cannot make our own kerosene. We have to ride into town and pay money at the general store to buy kerosene. Excuse me, we don't have much money, but we could trade something we have. If you look behind you on the wall over there, there's a circle of fur. That's called a pelt, and we could take that to the please wait, to the general store and trade it for something we can't make, something like sugar or molasses or tea or coffee. But we can make candles for free. If we follow honeybees to their hive in the woods, we can take some of the wax and make beeswax candles. This is a candle mold. If we were wealthy, we would have this. This gray metal is called pewter, P-E-W-E-T-E-R. And we use pewter for everything, for plates, you talked about plates before, plates, mugs, silverware, candle molds, candlesticks, and we can make 6 big fat candles with this. We're not wealthy, so we're going to use our children to help us make candles. We have a special kind of string called wick, which will absorb the wax, excuse me. And you'll each be making 2 candles. When you get them home, if you would like to burn the candles, okay, nobody asked you to touch that. You'll have 2 candles. If you want to burn them, excuse me, we're polite in a family, it's not your turn. Let them dry for 24 hours, and then you can cut them apart where the tape is, and you will have 2 candles. Some of these are really curly, but once we put the wax on them, we'll help them straighten up. I would like you to take a pencil out and politely pass the cup to the next person. So now we're going to practice how we do the dipping, okay? And I don't know if Aunt and Uncle have been here before, but we all have different ways to do it. So, all right, so the first time we put it in the wax, and we'll help you. Hold the tip of the tape, and you're going to put it down in, mostly down in, and once it's there, you're going to count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then you gently lift it up. A little bit of wax will drip back into the pot. We don't want to waste any. And then you're going to walk around the table and stop at the window where, Uncle, we have a job for you to do. So let's practice the first way to dip. You ready? Into the wax. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Gently lift it up, let the wax drip, walk around the table, but not really walk right now. Okay, after the first time, it's a different way to dip. It's going to be quickly down, up, 2, 3. If you do it in that rhythm, it will start to get fat and it won't drip. If you put it down in and think, well, I'll leave it longer, it'll make it fatter, it doesn't work that way, it just melts off again. If you put it in and pull it right back out again, you won't get any wax. So it needs to be this rhythm. You ready to practice? Quickly down, up, 2, 3. Okay, let's come up a little slower. Can we do it again? Quickly down, up, 2, 3. That's better, just once, so it's good. All right, everybody good? So let me put this out of the way. Have you heard the nursery rhyme, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick? All right, here's a candlestick made out of pewter. If I put this on the floor, could you jump over it? But this is not the candlestick they were talking about. The candlestick was a stick between 2 chairs, and you'd have pairs of candles on it, just like your candles. So you'd take off a pair, Take off a pair, dip them in the wax, put it back on the candlestick. Take another pair, dip it in the wax, put it back on the candlestick. So this was the candlestick. Could you jump over this?
No.
I don't think so. But if I put the little one on the floor, you can be Jack or Jill and jump over it. Sometimes we find antlers, not often though. The problem is mice like to eat the antlers. It gives them calcium. So if a deer sheds its antler and we can find it right away, we can pick it up. But if it's there for very long, it gets eaten up. So we are lucky we found this one. This is a very young buck though. He only has the 2 points on it. A lot of them have a lot more points on them. Remember, things are made of wood back in the 1800s. On New Year's Eve, do you ever make noise when it's the New Year's?
Yeah. That's my birthday.
This is a noise maker. It's entirely made out of wood. And I'm going to make the noise, but I just wanted to warn you first. It's a really loud noise. You ready?
Telling me. Yeah, that sounds like the one I have. That's like fireworks. It's like, no, you shouldn't. You should. It's like a scissor.
Or chopsticks. In a moment, you're going to get to go up the stairs 2 at a time, just far enough to look and come down backwards. The people who are down here may play with toys, so let me show you the toys. In the 1800s, again, things were made with wood. So here's a tic-tac-toe made out of wood, and here are the pieces, if I can get it open. Okay, they used metal too, but that's wood. Okay, we're not touching it. Yeah, 2 of you found pieces. Thank you so much, because they should not have been left on the floor. These are bean bags, so you can play catch or juggle, but do it by the window, not by the stoves, okay? Shh. Well, I hope you don't. All right, that's true. Shh. So this is a ring, and you're trying to flip it onto the end. Almost did it. End of the stick. This is possible, not easy, but possible. This one is a bead you're trying to flip into the cup. In my opinion, this is impossible.
No, that is possible. I've done it.
This is something called a Jacob's ladder. We used to have 2. I don't know. Okay, so you hold the side of the top one and turn it back and forth. And it goes down like that, okay? Well, those of you that know how to do it can maybe help the others. Okay, just leave it alone for a minute, please. Just for fun. So here we have a stick that has a little propeller on the end. And if you take another stick with notches, this is one, and rub it against the notches here, it makes the propeller go around. Go around? Okay. Then we have some toys. I read you from Little House in the Big Woods, Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is what her first doll looked like. It's a corn cob with a handkerchief around it, and you're probably thinking that's a really stupid looking doll. But if it's your only doll, your only toy, then you'd think it was pretty nice. This is a Calico Doll. It has yarn hair, and its face is painted on, and it has a calico dress. This was called a spoon doll. It's a wooden spoon. You paint the face here, and you can feel the handle down in the body. This was a handkerchief doll made out of a handkerchief. Parents like the children to take this with them different places to play with, because listen to the sound it makes if you drop it. It doesn't make any noise. And then this one has a very strange face. This is called a dried apple doll. You take an apple and you let it shrivel up, and it turns into a little grandparent face. So here are toys.